Hey, what's up guys, Benny here and welcome to another Apex Legends Season 2 video. Now with Season 2, it has brought along with it a whole load of changes that you can take advantage of in order to help you get more kills, wins, and the highest rank possible in the brand new ranked leagues. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you my top 10 tips and tricks to help make you the best Apex Legends player that you can possibly be in Apex Legends Season 2. I'd also like to say a big thank you to EA for supporting this video. My first big tip is to take advantage of the two brand new hop-ups that have been added into Apex Legends with Season 2, which are Hammer Point rounds, which are for the Mozambique and the P2020, and then Disruptor rounds, which are for the RE45 and the Alternator. Both these hop-ups significantly increase the weapon's damage. Hammer Point rounds will do increased damage against non-shielded targets, and Disruptor rounds increase damage against shields. What this means is that with an Alternator, for example, using Disruptor rounds, you'll be able to break a level 3 shield in just 3 bullets, especially after the Alternator also received a buff with the launch of Apex Legends Season 2. It just makes the weapon ridiculously powerful, and I think now one of the strongest weapons in the entire game. And this is the exact same thing with Hammer Point rounds with the Mozambique, which is actually usable now with you being able to one-shot kill someone if you land all 3 shots to a non-shielded enemy. But my tip to you would be to use the Alternator with Disruptor rounds and the P2020 with Hammer Point rounds, which after all the hours I've already put into Season 2 has become one of my favorite weapons in the entire game. The P2020 with a Hammer Point round hop-up deals 35 damage a bullet to non-shielded targets, and if you've got a fast trigger finger, you can absolutely destroy opponents in what feels like no time at all. Though a big bit of advice I'll give you is not to pick up a P2020 until you've found the hop-up, as the weapon is still pretty dreadful without it. And if you're wanting to use the Alternator with Disruptor rounds, which is something I'd definitely recommend if you're going to want to be winning more games, you can also use an R99 as it shares the same attachments as the Alternator until you manage to find the Disruptor round hop-up. But I cannot stress this enough. These hop-ups are two of the best items in Apex Legends right now, so make sure to take advantage of them and also share your own personal biggest tip to get better at Apex Legends down in the comments below. My next tip for Apex Legends Season 2 is actually one that has come into play with the new Hammer Point and Disruptor round hop-ups, as it's brought into the game a new weapon switching meta. It was very rare during Apex Legends Season 1 for you to switch weapons mid-gunfight, but because of how powerful the new hop-ups are for certain parts of a fight, whether that's destroying someone's shields with Disruptor rounds or finishing them off after their shields have been broken with Hammer Point rounds, it's brought into the game this new weapon switch meta that you want to take advantage of if you want to increase how often you win or the amount of kills you pick up in a match. So what I'd recommend is, in an ideal situation, you'll have the Alternator with Disruptor rounds and a P2020 with Hammer Point rounds. In a fight, you'll start with the Alternator, break someone's shields, and then switch to your P2020, which also has a very fast draw time of 0.25 seconds because it's a pistol, to then finish them off as you'll deal at least 35 damage a hit, which is more than a G7 Scout. It's that powerful. And once you get into the habit of doing this, you will be surprised at how powerful it is. Other great combinations include using the Flatline, which has also had a huge buff now, having a base damage of 19 damage a bullet. So you can damage someone at a distance or medium range with the Flatline, then switch to your sidearm, which is ideally the P2020, to finish them off. Now, I'm not going to lie, the Mozambique is actually pretty damn good as well. I just don't think I've got over my Season 1 trust issues that I've got with it, but have managed to start picking up a lot more kills with it. But make sure to try out the new weapon switch meta in Apex Legends Season 2. My next tip is, don't necessarily go for the traditional best legends from Apex Legends Season 1, because there's been a few changes which has mixed things up. First of all, there is now a new passive ability for Wraith, Lifeline and Pathfinder called Low Profile, which you need to be aware of as it increases the damage they take by 5%, meaning they're easier to kill. While Gibraltar is actually now an absolute tank, with the fortified buff now reducing damage by 15%, along with his gun shield that can take at least 75 damage. He's quite possibly in the top 3 legends in the game right now, so do make sure to give him a go. Though do remember, if you are playing as Gibraltar, try to slow your playstyle down and aim down sights as much as you can, so you do get the benefit of your gun shield. And try and hide that big body of his behind some kind of cover if you can. But I now feel that legends like Octane and Bloodhound have made their way up the pecking order a bit, purely for the reason that they don't have that low profile passive, which means a flatline can kill you in 5 bullets rather than 6, for example, if you don't have a shield. So if you've been maining Lifeline, Wraith and Pathfinder, try giving Gibraltar or Octane a go this season, as I've moved from being a Pathfinder main to an Octane main and have noticed a big difference. This tip is for those of you that are playing non-ranked games. You'll notice that rather than having a hot zone like we did in Apex Legends Season 1, there are now 2 airdrops landing on the map. These are guaranteed to have an L-Star plus 1 weapon and new hop-up combination inside. These are perfect if you want to try out the L-Star, which is the game's new LMG, which if you tap fire, you can actually get through an entire clip without the weapon overheating, which is pretty useful. And then you can get either a hammer point or disruptor round hop-up, along with either an RE45, P2020, alternator, or Mozambique. But the hardest thing is actually getting the weapon, as a lot of people are going for these airdrops. Realistically, you want to get the L-Star first, as you can drop large amounts of enemies pretty quickly. To give yourself the best chance of doing that, you want to land on a corner so you can see 2 sides of the airdrop. As soon as it begins opening, start spamming your loot button and quickly flick to whichever one the L-Star is in, and then move backwards so you don't get punched. Then prioritize whoever manages to pick up the other weapon in the airdrop, and if you do this right, you can get so many kills in quick succession, which can be the perfect start to a match and might help you get that 20 kill badge for your banner. As you'll probably know, Apex Legends Season 2 also brought with it the brand new legend Wattson, but what you might not know is an easy way to counter Wattson's fences if they've been well placed and not easily shootable. Well, Caustic is the best person to take them down, as if you throw a gas trap then shoot it, it will destroy the nodes within range of the gas, which will completely take them out, which will let you get through a doorway which was otherwise blocked with electric fences. Personally, I think Wattson is definitely a more situational character that we may start seeing used more in the top tiers of the ranked playlist when teams are a lot more coordinated. This next tip is one that I always go on about because it is so important in order to be successful at an FPS like Apex Legends, and that is to wear a headset. It will give you such a big advantage, whether it's being able to hear footsteps coming up behind you or to your side, or if you hear someone doing a revive mid-gunfight, or even something as small as someone reloading their weapon. A headset will help improve your game. Without one, I would not be able to make half the decisions I make every single match, from where I move on the map to which areas I decide to push or hold up in because I hear some gunshots. Also, with Apex Legends Season 2, there are these things like flyers in cages that can act as alarms if players move near them, which you definitely won't be able to hear properly and figure out where opponents are coming from if you're not wearing headphones. So whether it's something like Turtle Beach Elite Pro 2s that I use, or just some earbuds going into your controller, trust me, it'll be one of the easiest ways to improve your game. Something that a lot of players have got so comfortable with in Apex Legends is actually spending time outside of the zone, because it used to do absolutely no damage and you could just sit in there with your lifeline drone and just take your time. That is thankfully no longer the case in Apex Legends Season 2, but what it does mean is that you really do need to actively pay more attention to the timer of when the ring is going to start closing, because otherwise you're going to get killed by it. But because the zone now does so much more damage, you can also use it to your advantage. Position yourself if you know where enemies are, so they have to push straight into you when the ring starts closing, which you'll find causes them to panic and make stupid decisions, like run out in the middle of the open and allow you to get some easy kills. But trust me, do not I repeat, do not get yourself caught by the zone as you'll end up getting killed, and it's one of the worst ways to go. At first, I wasn't really sure what the Leviathans were doing on the map. You can't land on them, they occasionally make some loud sounds, but if you're quick, you can actually get some high tier loot from underneath them. When they raise their legs, underneath you'll be able to find things like level 3 armor, which especially early game or in ranked is incredible, but you have around 6 seconds to grab it and get clear of the leg, because otherwise it'll crush you and instantly kill you, making your team need to use a respawn beacon to get you back. So try and grab the loot and get out of there as quickly as you can. Something I always try to do in these videos is help players to improve their aim, because it's such an important thing to perfect in order to get more kills and win more games in Apex Legends. The first thing you need to do, especially as with Apex Legends Season 2, some weapons like the alternator have had their behavior changed, with barrels reducing the gun's recoil even more now, or new weapons like the L-Star have been added, is make sure you learn how those guns behave to get the most out of them. I'd spend a large period of time in a training zone shooting all the guns so you can learn the recoil pattern, learn how to stop the L-Star overheating as much, because if you learn how to control and use those weapons without having to think about it, you'll instantly find yourself being a lot more successful in Apex Legends. You also want to play on lower sensitivities if you're using a controller. Yes, sometimes it's nice to be able to flick onto an opponent that shot you from behind with a high sensitivity, but the majority of the time, being able to make those smooth, small adjustments that you can on a lower sensitivity is going to give you better aim and overall movement on Apex Legends. And then just get used to centering your crosshairs. Make sure that you're always aiming at the most dangerous potential point in front of you, whilst checking your peripherals for enemies. If your gun is pointing at the ground, it is no use, as being completely honest, an enemy isn't just going to pop out of nowhere. So point your crosshairs towards the door or that hilltop so you're ready if an enemy appears. Also, another small tip is don't shoot until the opportune moment. So many players see an enemy and then just blow their position when they have zero chance of picking up the kill. Wait for your opponent to be in the middle of the open or where you're close enough with your team to deal the most amount of damage. It really does help. Apex Legends Season 2 has also brought with it a load of new ways to speed up your Battle Pass progression, so make sure that you're taking the time to complete your daily and weekly challenges to maximize the amount of stars and extra Battle Pass levels you unlock to make sure that you get all those rewards. It's something that I think Respawn have done really well with this Battle Pass, as Season 1 at times could feel like a bit of a grind. But there we have it, 10 tips to help make you a better player in Apex Legends Season 2. I've got a whole load of videos coming over the next few weeks, including a guide on how to get Apex Predator and an updated settings video, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any Apex Legends content. Share any tips you have down in the comments below and smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!